Is that Lauren?
Say, why don't you get a hold of it?
Is that Lauren's truck?
I think so.
Okay. Lauren's coming in.
Yeah, that's it.
John, you got it? I say adjourned.
Yeah.
Did he know this meeting started at 6:30 or 6 o'clock? It says 6:30.
I see the lights off. We'll get started. Okay. We'll let them get caught up. Okay, we're going to call to order a specially called regular city council meeting of Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Please call the roll.
Anderson,
Here.
Mensch,
Here.
Ko,
Here.
Rolfs, Marcier,
We're
Delar,
Here.
Miller,
here.
Bergree.
Here.
7 present.
Okay, if everybody'd stand, we'll say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, seeing no public, we'll move through public comment and get to item number 5. It's the resolution of 2024-2, resolution to adopt and allocate funds for an outdoor fitness court as part of the 2025 National Fitness Campaign. And Keith, I'll let you kind of take it away if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you, Mayor. The OSLID application that was recently submitted to IDNR for the Lakeview Park improvements included an outdoor fitness station. The fitness station that we're looking to do has a $50,000 grant that they will provide towards that. This is just the first step. This is a non-binding resolution. It's just a resolution basically supporting this project. If the city does not get the OSLID grant, the city's not obligated to purchase this equipment. It wouldn't make sense because it's part of the other improvements. So tonight, this is basically just the first step out of, I believe, 8 that the National Fitness Campaign has. There's other steps that we'll be doing next year in the spring, but this is just a resolution of support for it, and this is money that would be coming to the city to help pay for the OSLID project.
Could you explain, once we commit to this project, how much the city has to pay? I understand there's so much money we're getting from an OSLID grant. What is the city's got?
Project in a whole, or this exercise?
I understand we can just do one thing at a time, but
So the OSLID application had the pickleball courts, the conversion from the old ice skate. It has the outdoor fitness. It had sand volleyball, a splash pad, and then an amphitheater.
Right.
All of those components are part of this. The city forces are providing a lot of matching labor. A lot of the concrete work will be done by city forces. A lot of the, putting the water main in for the splash pad, the storm line leading from it. So that was all included in the application package, and the village work helps offset the village monetary share out of pocket.
so I guess my question is, what exactly are we committing the city's part of this? Is it 120, or according to what I'm seeing on your paper?
I believe that is the additional 30 that they mentioned down below is for the concrete pad that can be put in by the city. That it's just a large flat pad, but I'd have to, let me see if I can pull the thing up from the guy. I want to say it's around 120, and then the $50,000 is coming in on top of that. I apologize, I didn't print out the whole, I've got the whole thing that guy sent me.
And technically, we're not committing to anything, and once we
Right.
get the grant, then we have decisions to make on moving forward with all or pieces of it.
Okay.
And we can look at costs at that point, and what we're gonna have to commit to on our end, and what we can do in-house as that offset.
So for the fitness, it looks like 120,000 is the funding match, and then the city can do the concrete pad below it. They recommend, there's a couple of contractors they use that install these all around the country. They highly recommend that that company put the equipment in, so, but that would be where the 120 is coming from, is the equipment and then the installation.
Just kind of like, I know it's federal money compared to this, but there's usually a time element in order to get all these projects done. Like, I know the Martin thing, we had until what, 2030?
2030, yeah.
So what would be the period of time on this? If-
IDNR grants are good for 2 years. You have to
Okay.
complete all the work within two calendar years.
Okay. So it could be do some, get whatever, we're gonna get reimbursed back, then do another phase.
Yeah, you don't have to do it all. If you decided to phase it, you could do a couple of the components next year, or, 2 years from now. Let's say you did the pickleball, the sand volleyball, and the fitness. Next year, you could do the splash pad and the amphitheater the following year. So you could spread it out over a longer period. I mean, technically, you could ask for a grant extension, but they really want you to get it done in that 2 years.
Okay. So, you
Any
said
other
that-
comments down there? You guys, any more comments? Just curious.
so we need a motion and a second on this.
So all we're doing tonight is,
Just basically a resolution of support for the project. Again, it's non-binding. If the city does not receive the OSLID grant, you do not have to go through with this. This is something that is contingent on getting the OSLID funds.
So we're looking for a motion and a second on this resolution.
So move.
Second.
We'll call when you're ready.
Delar,
Aye.
Cahoe.
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Marcier,
aye,
Anderson,
Aye.
Baragry,
Aye.
Mensch.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, we're gonna go to item number 6. This is probably the most important thing of the evening. So North Street, K Street, and Fifth Street MFT section 24-00069-00-R6 project, discussion and action. So Keith, we'll let you start.
We had a bid opening today. As you'd mentioned, it's for North Street, K Street, and the south block of Fifth Street. IPC was the only bidder to the project. We did invite, we had another company was holding bids, and we did reach out to other companies, but only one provided a bid. The estimate was at $533,294.80. IPC was at $485,870.72. So about 9% under our estimate. We were looking at prices from last year's MFT and from Martin Avenue, so I guess materials are finally starting to come down a little bit and stabilize.
There we go. Discussion.
is MFT gonna cover most of this, or what's the, do you know what the numbers are for that?
There's about $72,000 in RBI funds. That was a special allotments that the state had done over a 3-year period. Those have to be expended by June of next year, or the state takes them back. So that will be the first $72,000 on the project. The rest of the project is MFT funded.
You said that was on the Rebuild Illinois?
The Rebuild Illinois, yes.
72 from that.
Resolution for MFT for this?
Yeah.
480,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, the MFT funds are, the MFT funds are already allotted. This is just, so all the funding is in place. This is just the contract with IPC.
Just need to get her done.
According to a picture of the map, North and K is 1 and 2, and Fifth Street's number 3. Okay, we wanna hold it to that. Don't let it get flip-flopped. K Street, North Street's got priority. It's been tore up for 10.5 months. So I'll make the motion to
So-
accept the bid.
Just so we're clear, we have to have Rail Pros involved in this, so we are working off of their schedule once they have the flaggers deadline for this project, so if they can get out sooner to do Fifth Street, would you prefer to flip-flop that if we're waiting for Rail Pros and they can get out sooner to start Fifth Street? I'm just asking that to make sure.
If they can get off sooner, I would say then do it that way.
I think, you know, unfortunately, North and K, we're held up by Rail Pro's schedule, so that's gonna determine when that project takes off. Yes, I would love to do those first,
Yeah,
but
that's
if,
fine.
just for clarification, I don't wanna aggravate anybody because they can get out sooner to start on Fifth Street because we're delayed with Rail Pros.
No, I get it. No.
I mean, obviously, we know priority, that's been a nightmare on North Street. I'd prefer to do that tomorrow if I could, but
Is there a, completion date in this?
in
Yes. Yeah.
November
Is it?
27th.
Yeah, November 27th.
November? It's getting pretty late, ain't it?
It's, the weather gets a little squirrely, it just depends. There's some operations that are temperature dependent, but IPC's aware of that, and, you know, that they are fully aware that it has to be completed this year.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Bench.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Marcyr.
Aye.
Cahoe.
Aye.
Delar.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Farabee.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, that's all for the items. Keith, anything to add to any of the other projects?
So
And
Martin Avenue, we should have all signatures on the final plat. The family has given us authorization to get started on work, so I'm just waiting on a schedule from IPC on that, and we'll be ready to stake it.
That's good news. Fog coat on the,
The latest update today is Thursday. They're coming out to do a little bit more work and start fog coating. We have had a very hard time with Gallagher's subcontractor. We've had Gallagher get involved with pushing
moving
them.
along. And then the other project, you kind of hit on it here a little bit with, what is that, Locust?
Locust Sewer, so that is going to take off toward the end of October. Expecting Red Ants, their drilling sub to be out November 4th.
Okay.
You're looking at about a 3-week project, so I would say middle of November we'll be wrapping up with that.
And test well.
The test well, we are scheduled to stake that out Thursday this week. I'm expecting within the next 2 to 3 weeks they'll be out drilling.
Okay. That's all I can think of to ask you, unless you got anything else. Okay, with that in mind, oh,
Keith, what's the depth of the mill on Fifth Street? Is that 6?
North and K is 6.
Right.
And then where it's ripped out right now, we're actually putting another 4 inches in there for a patch below that. So they'll grind it, and then where it's aggregate, they'll put another 4, so you have 10 inches there.
Okay.
5th Street, I want to say, is 3.5,
Okay.
I believe.
The only reason I was asking, I remember there was two sinkholes right there in that section. So I remember, when Marvin was still here, he had some issues with that, and I guess you guys need to,
Once they mill, we'll know if they need to
Yeah.
do any spot repairs to repair the base, so we'll know once they
Okay.
mill, so there may be a change order.
okay, I don't,
There's
I
some
don't wanna get
patch.
it done and then have it sink.
No, there's some
Yeah.
patching built into the contract. So like Lauren said, after they mill it, we look at it to see if there's any spots that need anything else, and if there are, then we have items that can be used to fix that.
Okay.
We don't need to televise that, do we, before that's done?
That was
What's
lined,
your
wasn't it?
thought? You think we need to televise any of that on Fifth Street?
Danny, wasn't that lined?
Huh?
That sewer, wasn't that lined?
It was lined, yeah, but there were still 2 sinkholes in there.
After.
No, before. That's
So
what
that's
caused
probably
the
what
sink.
drove the lining project then.
Yeah.
okay, and then, I guess before finance or before Lauren's, we had been talking a month or two ago about, the TIF 3 funds and stuff like that, so
So
I don't know if anybody's had any thoughts.
we have, a couple water main projects in
Okay.
mind. I know originally we were looking at the water main, extending it from about Martin, in front of the high school, north to complete that loop, but there's a section down on Mulberry that's incomplete that I think would really make more sense to start there. And then that would be phase one on water main. Phase two would be that section down Belmont to complete that loop, and then there's, Second Street, the 8-inch water main loops down through, was it Jefferson?
Jefferson and then up
yeah.
to Cherry, I think.
Yeah, so then it goes to Second Street and stops, and it's just the old 4-inch. I think if you ran from there up Second Street with that 8-inch, it would complete an entire loop. But that section on Mulberry would at least loop that 8-inch out and around the school and complete it to the Oak Street water tower. So it's looking at a few different phases there.
And TIF 3 can be used because it's all interconnected underneath. Okay.
And then we have the road projects that we've all discussed. The existing Martin Avenue, Jordan Court, all those, and then Belmont, the Fairman and Coney. So, do you guys want proposals on engineering for all those projects? Presented this month in Public Works? I think we need to,
What's the
Pick-
time frame on the money?
well, we need to earmark the money toward a project by the end
December.
of this year.
So then we should be getting going on it.
Yeah.
So I'll work with Keith, we'll get some proposals on engineering for each one of those projects, and we'll see what cost estimates look like and what we can afford and which ones we should move forward with.
I think that's, yeah, we need to do something. Yep.
We'll get a map put together as far as showing what roads, what water mains we're looking at, and which phases we need to start with, but.
I know money's tight, but do you think you guys would take a peek at two streets? The curve in West Mulberry from Brown, let's say around the park, cause that's pretty well alligatored in there. And then a section of, what is it, Oak Street from,
Yeah, that's right.
from 6th to 7th.
I think you ought to go all the way to 8th Street on Oak. If you're gonna touch Oak, you might as well go all the way up to,
That's fine.
it's in bad shape.
See, I don't know. See where we'd be, if we could do emergency patch in there with, on both them streets. And I don't know, Jenny is, what's Mulberry like from the track to, the tracks to Brown?
It's not nearly as bad as around the curve.
Right,
I'd say it's mainly from Brown to Park is the worst. And then all of Park is in
And
bad shape,
Park's
but you're looking at,
terrible.
but you're looking at a full, I mean,
Yes,
curve,
yes.
I mean, it's,
That's the
Park's gonna be
area that
a
floods
lot
all
of
the
money for,
That'd be a
Two
complete
houses there.
rebuild.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, yeah.
But just, if you, you know, if you could take a peek at them, and then, the other thing is, when IPC's in town, will they redo the redo on, Heron Court?
That is our intention, yes.
Okay, and that's both ends or just the west end?
Well, the west end, they've agreed to resolve on their dime. We're still trying to get some resolution on the east end.
Okay. All right.
Is that the one that goes through that one lot that was in the middle? That big, and you're talking all the way on the other side?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, okay, that's all I got.
And Yeah, just for curiosity's sake, MFT annually, where are we at? What's an approximation that we bring in?
About 240, 250, say a little bit more. It just depends. It varies from month to month.
And one block of mill and overlay, approximate ballpark.
Yeah, it's,
You're not getting much. I mean, here, for example, you're looking at about 2.5 blocks for the almost 500,000 in this project. 485 for 2.5 blocks.
yeah, and, you know, the streets that were done with the heat in place was 300 and change for a lot larger stretch, so
6 streets.
6 streets.
Because we did Chicago, Market, Iroquois, Wabash, Virginia, Sheridan, and Raymond Road, so technically 7.
So 325, and you did a guesstimate, or did we have a guesstimate on what mill and overlay would be, just for
I thought it was
comparison's sake?
almost $2 million.
It was about 4 times the price for the mill and overlay.
So I don't know. I know that the chip and seal has been a little bit of an issue because of the delay in that fog coat, and the dry weather doesn't help with the dust.
Right.
But people have to understand that the cost of the mill and overlay is astronomical, and it's not on the contractor. That's just
Yeah,
the prices we're seeing. That's the
materials.
price, yeah.
And shipping the materials, they come a little farther with the gravel. Okay. Other questions? Thoughts?
I've got two I'd like to ask. The first one, the meeting that you guys had before the meeting last week, was that planning, zoning?
Yes.
Are there minutes for that by chance?
Yeah, I
or-
gotta get those finalized. Yes.
So there are gonna be minutes. Okay, I was just curious, because I
Yeah.
didn't know the meeting, I didn't remember hearing about it. I probably would have attended, but as long as there's meetings that videoed, not just
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, I mean, of course, you know, with state statute, the only meetings that really have to be videoed are executive session, as long as you're taking written minutes, and I gotta get them typed up. I've just been busy at school, I apologize for that. But, yeah, we were within the proper confines.
No, I'm just curious. I was
Okay.
gonna read them, because I wanted to know what was talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm trying, Scott.
That's
I'll
all right.
try
No,
to
no,
get
I
'em.
just didn't know if there were. I didn't know what kind of a meeting it was.
Nope, there are, and I've got minutes. I
Okay,
just, I
I'll
wanna
look
type
for
them
'em.
out so they look neat in my,
I'll look for them when
Chicken
they get
scratch 'em.
done. They'll be tucked in my mailbox. I'll grab them.
okay.
The other one is the contract that, or the bid, the $22,000 from Carlisle.
Uh-huh.
Was that the one that we received April 1st last year?
I believe it was.
And that had a 90-day window of opportunity, and we were far exceeded that for one. And second, the email that was sent out with Carlisle saying they retracted that. How did we pay or agree to pay for one, a bid that was only good for 90 days, which we were far exceeding, and two, why did we agree to pay them money when Carlisle said they didn't want to work with us anymore?
Well, I think what happened is,
Days, I think Lauren
that?
said he talked to him and they would extend it.
Okay, well, I was just curious. I was reviewing things after the fact.
and I think, well, 2 of the aldermen met with that group, and then they changed their mind, and they went over to Chatsworth, and then it kind of went from there. And I know the, you know, because I was skeptical that Carlisle would even do it, and you know, so we asked, and he said he would.
Okay, I was just curious, because that's what I looked at after the fact, and
Yeah, because I know we had a couple things going, and I know about 3 or 4 months later, the 7,700 thing that came in, it was about 3 months later.
77.
That was for the
7750
historical
that we
district.
shot
That was a
down.
historical district,
Yeah.
not pennies. That's
Yeah.
a whole different.
And I still think we should have paid that, and we should pay our obligations, but, you know, majority rules.
that's all I had.
Okay, anything else?
Whatever can be done for Oak Street would be great.
Yeah, and probably should take a close look over there at Cherry Street.
Yes.
Cherry, I think, is one of the worst, and it's a secondary route for Route 1 when everybody wants to eliminate those lights, so. Pretty bad,
This Gallagher.
as you know.
The Gallagher job that we did this year, we're maybe trying to hit for that in another couple of years.
And I think the idea was to look at MFT projects every other year to
10 cents.
allow the funds to build up.
And then I
I
think
mean, there's some areas
go get a bond.
on what, 6th and 7th and Hickory and there that need
So you
substantial.
gotta remember with the heat and recycle process, you can't use it on every road due to the conditions. If the road is too far gone, there's not enough material there.
Might as well put
because
the proposal out there, just,
more gravel than asphalt,
Why don't you get with,
it's too late for that process.
can hold off for finance.
So it's, we'd have to look at the conditions and see if it's right or not.
Okay. I see a couple streets over there got a lot of cuts across them where apparently sewer or water's been put in, and I didn't know if that would work on that street or not.
Yeah, the patching won't impact it. If it's been patched, if you use spray patching on it,
As long
That
as it's
all-
not cold patch.
yeah, they don't, the cold patch doesn't heat up as well. But you guys haven't used cold patch for ever, I think, so.
So anyway, if that heat and recycle can be done as a final product, how come they can't go down a few more inches, add another heating unit, go down further, instead of having to tar and chip over it? Because even though it's not in any of my wards, I've had a lot of complaints about people that don't like that they have a gravel road now. I understand and explain to them it's a cost, but they were all wondering why the heat and
You
recycle.
can't go deeper. What you can do is a mill, or like an overlay. Like
Well,
you
I
can
asked the
have
guys from
overlay.
Gallagher how deep they could go, and they can go on a whole nother 3.5 inches down, depending on what's under it, that have to be cored by adding another heating unit.
It depends. I mean, you,
And it can be done, I've looked it up, it can be used as final product. I'm sure these aren't on truck routes and the like, but on what would be a residential side street, because they were happy with the way it was once they heat and recycled it before they did
yeah,
the.
Gallagher does not recommend leaving it without either a chip seal or a asphalt overlay. So there, it's possible some contractors are doing that, but that's not what their recommendation is. And, you know, the other thing is you heat it up and it heats up from the top down. So to get deeper, you're heating the top more, and at some point you will actually scorch the asphalt that's there. And sometimes when they were stopped for too long, you could see it just once it ignites, it kind of takes off. So you're limited by that too. I mean,
Okay.
if you heat
Gentleman
the
that
surface too
was-
much, you'll damage that trying to get deeper.
Say, the gentleman that was out there from Gallagher that day, I asked him the same question. He said that the surface is very porous,
Yeah.
the way they're doing it, and that the tar and chip is to seal that surface so moisture doesn't get in there and freeze and thaw and start popping the asphalt. in
Yeah,
the
they're
wintertime.
looking into ways to do it so that it could be a final product, but they don't feel they're there yet.
They're not there yet.
That's, yeah.
but the depth is what they recommended, Gallagher?
Yeah, they go down, it's 2.5, they tell you 2.5. Realistically, they're probably getting a little bit more, but they don't wanna promise you 3 or 4 when they, you know, if they can't get to it,
Gotcha.
so.
All right, we good? Okay, we need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor?
I-
Amanda, got some stuff for you.
When they got done, it rode nice.
I know, but I knew that couldn't be a final product the way they did it.